Welcome to Message Reveal. Message Reveal identifies a vibe, a message, or a story told through lyrics of a song. So before we welcome our special guest, I want to tell you a couple of things that is associated with our special guest. And if I get it wrong, please jump in. One, she teaches yoga. Two, she provides energy balance for business owners. And three, which I want to definitely know more about, she provides ancient ancestral wisdom training, which I want to dive in. I want to know more about. So you guys, please put your hand together for my special guest, Miss MamaYoga. Yes.
Give thanks.
Yes. Well, before we get started, I always ask my guests this. What makes you move or tick or makes your blood boil? Give me something about you.
Well, I seem to have, first of all, before I even go into that, I want to thank you so much for the honor of being on your show, for you perceiving that I would have something to share with your audience and with you as well. I'm just so honored. I was so, it was serendipitous that we met at the podcast summit recently, and
Yes.
we just really just clicked and had our own little show right there in the hallway.
That is right. You absolutely remember that. Yes.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for having me on, dear. So it's a great honor and a pleasure.
Well, I am just so thankful you said yes, and we want to dive into your wisdom,
Sure.
and we want you to be able to share all those great things. So even before we do with the original question I asked you, tell us where you're from and a little bit about you.
So I'm born and raised in Trenton, New Jersey. I was raised, obviously, in the 60s by Southern parents and grandparents who came up from Virginia, South Boston, Virginia, which is Halifax County. So I have a Southern, a Southern foundation in my mores and my moral compass and my way in which, the respect and honor and how you interact with people, and even though I was raised up here in the North, that Southern thing come out, I'd be like, get your curing, and they'd be like, child, you was not raised down South. Why are you talking like that?
But it's in your roots. It's in your roots.
It's in my roots, honey, and it's grounding. I came from it wasn't initially a single parent home, but my mama moved to these caseworkers or whatever came around and were like, we have these new apartments that you can brand new, built from the ground up, you can move into, but you can't bring your man, you can't bring your husband. These are the projects, right? And so grew up in the projects, and also back and forth between my grandmother's house and my parents' house, my mom's apartment and everything. And as I grew up, faced the same dynamics that people face in their life. I was in the streets early. I used recreational medicinals, shall we say. I'm choosing my words with some grace.
Oh no, honey, we can be real. This is not for kids, it's for adults.
Yeah, I'm being real, it's using grace, but I was out in the streets, and then not to the degree where you could really tell I was in the streets though, but we all, my knowing is that we all are hardwired with a purpose, a journey, and a mission. Yes. That is to the greater good. No matter what it looks like, it's to the greater good.
Ooh,
and
yes.
So I spent a lot of time in New York. I was a professional model, and there was always a calling on my spirit that something ain't. I'm supposed to be doing something. It was like the call on my spirit. And around 28 years old, I left New York. I decided I wasn't going to model anymore. I left New York and came in to begin to learn about African culture, African spirituality, our history prior to slavery. And I just
Yes.
became really, really, really devoted and entrenched in understanding the greatness of who we are as an ancestral people. And that brought me to study yoga and meditation and mindfulness, and to become a complete vegan and wear my hair natural and just really lean into the naturalness and the personal connectedness, that is the vibrational, energetic connectedness to that divine force we call God.
Yes, I
Mhm.
love it. I love that. I I understand you say you decided to stop modeling and
Mhm.
move from New York.
Right.
Can you give me the catalyst of that moment that pushed you towards this new beginning or this new perspective?
Sure, sure. I mean, it's as clear as day. Again, always since I was a child, having this little whisper that you
Mm,
are meant to do something, you're on assignment. I'll give you an example just to lay the foundation. When I was 9 years old, the children in the neighborhood were teasing me because we didn't get new clothes for Easter, right? You
mm,
know that thing. It's
yes.
cultural. Change the season, you get a new dress, plus it's Easter. So we didn't get new clothes for Easter. I'm 9 years old telling this group of neighborhood children, Easter is not about clothes and candy. Easter is about the love of the Lord. And we all need to pray right now, and they were like, you weird.
Well, no, but you knew you already had that built into you. You were born with that already.
That's
You were
right.
just tapping in at 9 years old.
That's right. And so fast forward throughout my life, there always had been the blessing of a little whisper that is
Mm,
you supposed to, things don't just happen. So
yes.
in the modeling career, although I was very successful economically, right? And on many stages, and did very well as a professional model, it was the types of customers, the types of jobs I was
Mm,
beginning to be presented with.
mm.
So I never had an agent. I always hustled up my own
Wow.
go-sees. I never was under any type of agency or anything like that. I just hustled and did very well. But then I started going to these jobs where the person, the gatekeeper
Hmm.
of the job would say, well, your skin's too dark,
Mm.
or your butt really doesn't fit, your body shape doesn't fit, what we're looking for. But there is a very wealthy man on East 88th Street who would just like some company, dear.
No, they would
So
be
it
that
started to
forward.
be,
They
yeah, oh yeah, they don't miss no words. They even told me there's no such thing as natural beauty. You have to cover up all that. This was back in the 80s,
wow.
and they were like, it's no such thing as natural beauty. You're a cute girl to be black, like that kind of stuff, right? And so I kept meeting, and after a while, I mean, after years, right? Around about my 27th, 28th birthday, I started getting those types of requests. And I
Mm.
just kept saying, no, that's not what I do. No, that's not what I do. And then one lady, little old lady, said, let me just say this to you, honey. You need to do more than what you think you're doing.
Mm.
So you need to take these jobs that the people are offering you, because it's more than what you think you should be doing. And I, on the train home, said, you know what? It's time for me to finish with this.
Mm.
I just kept meeting the dark side
Yes.
and kept coming into too close for comfort to the
Yes.
dark energy of the entertainment
And
field.
think about how many people listen to a little old lady like that
Yep.
and succumb
Yep.
to whatever it was because they thought because she had age, she had wisdom, and what
Right.
she was doing was feeding that baby to the wolves.
That's right. Not just age and wisdom, but she had access and clout. Again,
Mm,
these gatekeepers, these
yes.
people that say, okay, yes, you can enter or not. But my gatekeeper,
Oh, come on.
the divine spirit within me, kept whispering, my guardian angels, my
Yes.
ancestral entourage,
Yes.
as I've come
Ooh.
to know that to be, kept whispering and pulling me back from the edge,
Yes.
saying,
I,
oh no, baby, that's not what you're supposed to do.
yes. And if I can touch on that, I think we all have access to it. Here's the
Absolutely.
thing. We're not taught from day one that we have a team
That's
of
right.
unseen, because I believe in the seen and the unseen.
Yes,
And the
ma'am.
people say, oh, well, I believe in God. I don't believe in the seen and the unseen. If you believe in God, you believe in the unseen.
That's right.
Again, this is
Mm-hmm.
my perspective. But
Mm-hmm.
we have a team of angels.
That's
Some
right.
call them guides,
That's
some
right.
call them ancestors. All
Mm-hmm.
of them are working for our good. But here's
Mm-hmm.
the key from my belief, you got
Mm-hmm.
to be able to tap in and know they're available.
That's right. That's right. It's a partnership, if you will.
Yes.
Oh, excuse me. And the more vibrant your frontal lobe consciousness is,
Woo.
the more connected you are to those guides. And again, you introduced the ancient wisdom teachings aspect of what I share with my community. The higher your vibrational flow steps in a different guide.
Wow.
So
Okay.
you get a guide in your infancy who is to care for you, protect you. You still have free will,
Yes.
but they have a partnership because people, like you said, we're taught to believe more in fairy tales than we are to believe in the connectiveness of our divine spirit and our partnership with source or
Mm,
God, whatever language you want to use.
correct.
Right? So we're taught that we can go out here and behave all kind of ways and then say, okay, please just take this on and I can go back to acting however I want to act. It doesn't really work that way. You stay with your first level guide or angel. Then
Mm,
you stay with the angel or guide or ancestor who is there to kind of help you in your infancy. But when
mm,
you begin to take more responsibility and understand the alignment of the partnership that you and source, you and God have to submit yourself to God's work, then you get the next level of guide, angel, and ancestors.
ooh, I like
That's
that.
African, that's ancient wisdom. That's
When you
ancient wisdom teaching.
submit yourself to
That's right.
God's work,
That's
then
right.
you get elevated to a new angel. Now, let me ask you this. So, say I submit myself and I get elevated to a new angel.
Mm-hmm.
The other angels, are they still there to support me as well?
Yep. That's like your mom
Okay.
or your dad. You know what I'm saying? They're your first line of protection, love, and care. So
Yes.
they know the handoff. Okay, again, speaking from traditional spiritual practices, nothing is happenstance. Your energy, known as your spirit,
Yes.
is shown a preview of your life prior to taking on a vessel we call a body.
I do believe that, and I'm well aware of that.
So your help is lined up.
Mm,
Okay, if she get to this level, then this team goes in. We send it in the team. If she
okay.
get to that level, this team then. Because at each level, just like there is divine good, there's divine inequities
Wow.
and energies, people who use energy for the opposite of God's love.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not going to say use the other language, devils and all of that, because those are human understandings so that we can get a grasp
Yes.
of the energies that we are experiencing. right? But just like there are good, there's the opposite of that, so-called bad, the yin and the yang.
Yes.
So as you go higher in your elevated, vibrant frontal lobe consciousness, then the unseen team that supports you has already passed certain obstacles when they were embodied.
Yeah.
So
do you think at one point they had the human body so they can now understand what the human perspective is all about? Now they're in what we would call the spiritual world. But at one point, did they experience this human body?
Yes, especially our ancestors, right?
Yes.
Because there's no broken line, right? You are your very first ancestor that came on the planet. That's proven by biological science. The first egg that ever divided to become a human being is still dividing in human beings to this day. That's biological science, right?
Yes.
So you are connected to your very first ancestor as they were embodied in the human, people born and people transition, people die. Correct. That has happened in your specific lineage for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, right? So angels are a spiritual force. They've not been embodied, right? But your ancestors have.
Okay.
Those people in our lineages, they have. And that's a part of the reason too, that all trauma that a person has experienced is passed on in the DNA of the next generation.
Wow.
So we have an ancestral memory that is energetic, sometimes energetically too vibrant in our physical or our earthly manifestation that we have to heal.
So can I jump in as you're saying that the spirit is giving me? That's where the generational cycles are connected and continue to come through. And it is our job to deliver from that and break those sometimes are curses or behaviors or attitudes.
That's right. That create manifestations in our life, and a revelation through my work has been that in God's great mercy, every family at some point in that family's lineage gets a priest, a priestess, a prophetess, an evangelist, an adherent to the divine pathway that will change the course of that family.
Wow, I've never looked at it in that perspective. So you said every family.
Every lineage, every family line, at some point in that family line, gets someone born into that family line who will then ever so slightly change the direction and course of that family line. Wow. If you are, quote unquote, the black sheep of your family, that is, you don't do things the way everybody else do them, you have been designated.
Yes, yes.
You see? So that, to me, what was revealed to me, that's God's mercy.
Yes.
Because it is not the plan for us to suffer.
Thank you. Can you say that again? Because I think so many times people think that's necessary to suffer to begin to understand things. Yes, we will all have our peaks and valleys.
That's right.
But it is not consistent to suffer.
Right. Suffering is a state of mind. Sorry, that's my cats in the background. This is reality podcasting, as I like to say.
Absolutely.
So, suffering is really a matter of perspective, right? And again, this is the ancient wisdom teachings that you spoke about earlier, right? So suffering is a matter of perspective. It is how you are taught to think about the circumstances and experiences in your life. The common thoughts are that if you love me, then you will be, uncontrollably emotional about me, which is not really helpful to your health,
Yes.
right? If you care about something, then you are just falling all down and out of your mind about it, and it's worrying you and keeping you up at night. You don't have to function like that to really care about something. So suffering is a matter of perspective, and that's how we can use meditation and mindfulness to adjust the energy currents that flow through a person and thereby adjust their suffering. Perfect example, 2 women get raped. One woman every day for 10 years is playing and replaying the incident in her mind. Something triggers her. The least little things are triggering her regularly. She is constantly feeding the trauma. She's constantly reliving the trauma. Another woman, same time, different place on earth or whatever, she says, okay, this situation happened. She ascribed or went through a certain amount of just out and out hurt and suffering about the situation. And then she said, this is ruining my life. I got to fix this. And she finds a way to navigate her energy out of that state and begins to starve the experience. So she does not suffer the same way the person who is on repeat or easily triggered by the horrible circumstance that has happened to her.
And I know you're telling the truth. I've heard several doctors talk about, in order for you to heal, you cannot continue to replay that button. And think about, we'll take that away. Yeah. Let's think about if we had a bad experience at work. We'll use work for everybody common. And because of that bad experience that day, the next day you bring that same energy of that. And the next day, you will never move forward. You will never receive a blessing. You will not be able to do your work. And if I'm looking at it from that point of view, that's the same way.
That's right. It's the same dynamic. Let's take it to even something more grounding. You was hooked up with Charlie, and you had your relationship with this man, and there's things that happen in a relationship that triggered a bad experience or a harsh experience with Charlie. You and Charlie break up, you hook up with Raheem. And then Raheem start doing the same kind of stuff. And you get like, well, why am I, there's an energetic program that you have not healed. You haven't starved and gotten out of your DNA, which then affects your mind, body energy, which then affects your manifestation. So it's the same across the board.
So speaking of that, what would you suggest, since we've gone down this road, somebody that wants to release and don't know how to initially start that process because they're keep replaying over and over and over again?
Right.
They don't know what to do. What would be your first line of suggestion to get them?
Okay, so the first line is, it all starts with the breath. When you are upset, tense, disturbed, trigger, the first thing that happens that we don't notice is you actually stop breathing. You respirate, right? You cease a respirate. It happens for a split second, and then your breathing becomes upper chest. When you're upset, and I don't, right?
Ooh, great example.
So it doesn't have to be that extreme, but when you get tense, you tense up, and you notice, if you don't notice, your body is tense and you have stilled your breath. So when that thought comes to mind, the first thing you want to do is intentionally, consciously take a breath and hold it and focus on the breath, then breathe out and reaffirm who you are and whose you are.
Ooh, ooh.
I am God's divine daughter.
Ah,
That
yes.
situation happened in my life. I learned the lesson, and now I am the better for it. Or
Yes.
some affirmation that brings you into alignment with who you actually are. And
Yes.
who you actually are is you are. Listen, if your father created everything and you have the DNA of your father, then you have the same capacity for
Come.
creation and greatness, just not the same quantity. Like
Mm.
God creates the moon, the stars, and the ocean. You can create the moon, the stars, and the water in your life.
Ooh.
So the teachings, the ancient African wisdom teachings that go across continents, right? Because there was a migration of the original peoples of the planet to all of the 7 continents.
Mm-hmm.
The wisdom teaching is that you can align with the divine within you to help heal all circumstances in your life. And healing is a matter of perspective. Is this thing, am I still captured by this dynamic or this situation? Or have I put it to rest and now it does not affect my blood pressure, my weight, my, my external external manifestations?
Yes. I am so amazed at the wisdom that you are providing. I think, no, let me correct my words. I know this is going to provide healing for someone and even be a catalyst to begin some
Mm-hmm,
healing. So
mm-hmm,
I thank you
mm-hmm.
so much for doing that and
Yeah.
saying those words. And before we even get there, I need to unpack one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
Who was your teacher?
Yeah. Yeah. Forget the song, right? We didn't even get
No,
to the
we're gonna
song.
get to that. We're gonna get to that. Trust me. I will never forget about that. But I just want to really know who was your teacher and how do you begin to gather these
Right.
things and know we know you had this within you,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Yes,
believe in this where they said the teacher will arrive when the student is ready.
that's right. Absolutely.
And I believe in that.
Mm-hmm.
So who arrived? What teacher arrived for you when you were ready?
So it is an entourage,
Mm,
right? When I first left New York, started wearing my hair natural. I was back in Trenton, and I was at a warehouse job in Trenton. I was in the office administrative space, and one of the warehouse brothers came through, and he was like, "How you doing? My birth name is Angela. I still go by Angela because that name was given to me just the same way Samut was given to me. I didn't choose Samut, right? So the brother was like, Angela, what's up with you? How you doing? I see you starting to wear your hair natural." And I was like, "Yeah, I want to learn more about my spirit and my ancestry." And he said, "You want to learn more about who you are?" And I said, "Yep." And he put a tape in my hand.
mm.
And the tape was Minister Louis Farrakhan message from the Peachtree Hotel. This is in the 80s. And
Wow.
that like exploded my journey. That began the next level of my journey. Because when I was a little girl outside playing in those projects, outside playing in the front of the projects, I was jumping rope. I'm a little girl now, maybe 7 years old. And this man came up to me, and I remember he was dark skinned. I could just remember his hands being dark skinned. He was in a suit and he had on a bow tie.
Mm,
And he said to me, "Little sister, do you know who God is?"
mm.
I'm 7, just out there minding my business, jumping rope. And I said, "Yeah, God is up in the sky." And he got down on his knee. He said, "No, little sister, God is in you.
Ooh,
And
yes.
you will come to know that one day."
Wow, that was a prophetic word spoken over you.
So that's one teacher, two teachers. Then I started learning. I followed Dr. John Henry Clark. He is one of our most venerated. He's an ancestor now. May his works, his good works forever be remembered and revered. Dr. John Henry Clark, a great scholar talking about our origins from ancient Egypt, which is Kemet, and the history of African peoples doing wonderful things, not just being slaves. So Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing.
Yes,
These
we
are
bless
all
her
people
too.
that
Yes.
I followed, Dr. Leonard Jeffries. And then I came into a 30-year study under Dr. Ra-U-Nefer Amen the first.
Okay, I'm not familiar.
Yes, Dr. Ra-U-Nefer Amen the first, under the Oser Society, AUSAR, AUSET Society, a traditional Afrocentric African spiritual cultivation society. And I went down to Philadelphia at a time in my life that was very volcanic. I was married at the time, and my husband was unhappy in the marriage, and it was just very, very hard.
Yes.
And so one of my elder sisters was going to Osiris, Philadelphia, and she kept sending me flyers. Her backyard was nearly adjacent to mine, but she kept sending flyers around to the house. And I just kept saying, I don't know what this is. What is this? Now, I had been through maybe 10 years of study. You see how spirit gently spoon feeds you.
Of
Study
course.
about our history and our culture and following these great scholars in New York and all of that. And she kept sending flyers. And then one day I went down to Philly. And when I walked in the door, I knew I was where I was supposed to be. It just felt like the proverbial harps, the angels singing, oh, you're here, like that, right? I'm not saying.
Yes.
But anyway, Osiris Society is my main foundational study and my main teaching study to our wisdom, our spiritual wisdom. And then Kundalini Yoga is what I teach as well. And I learned that from another community, and I'm just receptive,
Yes.
to a degree that is relevant to my path, like they say in the South, you chew the meat and spit out the bone.
And I believe that. I believe that.
Right. So that is my those are my teachers, and then my ancestors, when you meditate and you get quiet and you seek to be obedient to what it is you perceive you're supposed to do, there's a great deal of learning in that, even when you fall and skin your knee, child.
Yes, ma'am.
Great deal of learning in that.
Yes. I think that is so wonderful. I feel like we've gotten multiple layers of understanding, and that I don't know if you would agree with me, life will always continue to teach you things and will always continue to evolve. Even if you choose not to evolve with it, it will continue to move on.
Right.
We need to understand that we have to learn to evolve with it.
Yeah. And, your evolution, each person's evolution looks different. It depends on, your level of receptivity. It depends on your growth, your own personal commitment to your inner work, to healing the trauma. Because if you are born to change the direction of your family, and I know that sounds like a huge thing for most people, but that's not what is meant. It doesn't mean you have to make this huge demonstrative change. It just means that you have to live the blessing that's on your heart.
I'm so glad that you said that, because I've met people that has a gift and they said, I'm here to change my family. But I always say, if you're here to change, you don't change is not done in a forceful way.
Right.
And I've seen so many people, you guys are not doing this. You shouldn't be eating this. You shouldn't be saying that.
Nope.
But really, you should be saving that energy and continue being you. And over time, they will come and say,
That's
hey,
right.
I need help. I need guidance.
Mhm.
So I think it's something very necessary that needs to be said, that if you are identified as that change agent or the
Mhm.
one that will make a difference, it's never forced.
That's right. No, it is really, it's energy. And the people who are present with you right now, they probably ain't even the ones. It's the ones coming.
Yes.
There's an energy, right?
Yes.
There's a change, an energetic change is what I'm saying. And it's by your actions, not by what you are talking about.
Yeah.
Right? Because truth be told, real inspiration is just that. It's inspirited. It's inspired.
Yes.
It's not what you say, it's what you do. Just like our children. Our children, we be talking all day long.
Girl.
They is not listening to what you're saying. They are going to mirror what it is that you're doing, that we are doing.
But that's also too, we still, I believe, tell our truth, because I know it's someone that has spoke into my life over 30 years ago. And guess what? The manifestation of it is now apparent. So we still have to do our job, but not in a forceful way. That's the way I believe.
I agree 100%. Sometimes you do need to bring, you know, some passion and some energy to what it is, but to proselytize and try to convert everybody. Like when I became a vegan, because a part of the spiritual tradition was veganism, not necessarily for plants, I mean for animal rights. It wasn't about that. It was about what is the anatomy of the human body designed to do. It was, again, trying to align with how we are made in the likeness of the divine, right?
Yes.
And so we don't have incisors to rip meat apart and eat it raw. We don't have the digestion that manages that. So that was the understanding. So when I became a vegan, with these Southern country behind, you know, chitlin eating, pork chop, this chicken ain't never hurt nobody, mama and grandmother, and not to mention the relationship that food has to our culture.
Yes.
It was just about blasphemous that I wasn't eating my mom's food. Or so, and then over time, when I would go to family events, I'd bring all my vegan stuff. You know, I made collard greens without smoked turkey or fatback or none of that. I bring all my vegan stuff, and I started realizing that if I didn't put my plate aside, I wouldn't get none of the food that I bought.
What?
They'd eat all of the vegan stuff and be like, ooh, child, it's good.
Wow.
Hello? And then,
but look how you changed the dynamics, and you, instead of having to depend on them to provide something, you came with your own, and now they were more in tune to say, let me try.
That's right. That's right. And so it's 30 years in, it's 30 years later. So, you know, my nephews, my great nephews, my sisters, even, they called, they like, the doctor say my blood pressure is XYZ. What I know, you know about a bush. Tell me the bush. And I have to say, yes, there's a bush, but baby, it's a lifestyle too. So don't take the bush and keep drinking Remy.
Come on.
Come on, sweetie. And then, so that's what I'm talking about. Sometimes you do have to bring.
No, I think everything is in balance. When a mother is teaching her child, yes, you want to be loving, you want to be able to pour in, but it is also a time, and I'm speaking as a mother, where I said, listen, today is not the day. I said what I meant, and I meant what I said, but that is not typical practice. So everything is a balance.
Yep. So I have the Mind, Body, Energy, and Balance podcast. And I also created the Chakra Healing and Balance book and course that people can participate in. The Chakra Healing and Balance is really about balancing your energy, because everything is energy. You know,
Yes.
I do a little exercise with all courses that I teach because it's not just yoga. You know, I learned yoga for spiritual attunedness and connectedness, not
Mm,
for exercise only. But
mm.
it's good for that too. If that's the least you can get out of it, that's, you know, that's what's up. So there's a little exercise that I do with my classes, and it's to help them connect to the energy aspect, right? So if you can, we do it here right quick?
Well, actually, yeah, we can do it. And also at the end, you'll have time where you can actually direct them to your courses.
Okay, no problem, no problem. I just have been like kind of like inspirited right now to kind of do, but I'm following your lead. Yeah.
No, yes, go right ahead.
Okay, so you want to take your hands,
Mm-hmm.
clap them, and rub your fingers your palms very vigorously together, and separate your fingers out. You see how my fingers are not touching, but the
Yes, ma'am.
palms are as close as possible. And you want to make sure that you're sitting up nice and tall, very, very strongly on your hips. Right. And now slowly separate your hands. And now keep your palms together as close as you can without touching. And just pay attention to what's happening in between your palms, and breathe in and out through your nose. Right. And just rotate your hands, but keep those palms as close as you can without touching, and pay attention to what's happening in between the palms. Good. Breathe in and out. Relax your shoulders. Slowly breathe in and out. Rotate the hand. Good. And now separate the palms out. And now bring your hands together as quickly as you can without touching. Close. Good. Let's do that one more time. Breathe in, breathe out, and separate the hands. And now bring them together again without touching. And close as you can get them, breathing in and out. And pay attention to what's happening in between your hands. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. All breathing through the nose. Breathe in and breathe out. One more, in and breathe out. Good. Separate your hands. Bring your palms face up on your lap. Breathing in and out through your nose. And relax here. Good. When you're ready, you can just return your attention back to the space that we are in.
I feel like I gathered some energy
Mm-hmm.
in the palm of my hands, and
Mm-hmm.
it's radiating through my body.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. So what can you describe what you felt, if anything, in between your hands?
I felt like it was an energy source, something I can't see, I can only feel, and it was radiating kind of up and down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And as I breathed, I felt like it would be more powerful as I
Mm-hmm.
breathed in and out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually sweaty, like I actually ran and did something. My hands, the palm of my hands are sweaty.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What is that
So
doing?
So what you have experienced is the electrical magnetic energy that is running around your body that
Ooh.
emanates out 6 feet, right? Through this whole pandemic thing, they were saying, stay 6 feet away, 6 feet away. Your aura, your energy field, your shield of protection is generally 6 feet. If you
Mm,
have a bad diet, if you're drinking or using, substances, if you have a suppressed life experience, like you're sedentary, you don't get out in nature, it shortens to 3 feet, 2 feet. That means you really don't have that much protection, right? So
wow.
the average person, though, who is of good energy or of good health, has a 6 feet ring of life force around them. And when you bring your palms together, you can feel that energy in between. Some people don't feel anything. It doesn't mean they don't have, of course they do. It just may need a little more tweaking.
Okay. That's
So that's your
wonderful.
life force. That's your electrical energy running around your body, circulating.
Wow. Thank you so much. I love that's why on this podcast we kind of just go with the flow. Yes,
Yeah.
it is an agenda, but I believe that as I have a bishop, his name is Bishop Leo LaFloy. He said the program is subject to change, and I believe in that. Sometimes we just got we gotta go with the flow. I gotta go with the
Absolutely.
flow. So
Absolutely.
saying going with the flow, I want to dive in and tell you a little bit about the perspective of what I need from you. So I need you to tell me about a song that has either blessed you, either provided distraction, or given you a perspective in life. Now, before we get started with this, there's rules to this particular part.
I see.
If you can sing, I need you to sing your throat box out. If you can rap, my sister, I need you to rap. But if you can't do either one, I need you to say it boldly and with heart and with meaning. So, can you share a song that has really given you some perspective and really worked with you?
Well, as we said at the pre-show, I have so many, but two particularly come to mind. But I'll just go with this one.
You
Now,
can
of
go
course,
with both if you like.
all right. So I cannot sing, not really, but I be filled with joy and singing, not for people's entertainment, but for the joy that's coming through. But I'll save and spare your audience's ears. This song, I actually had a show that this was my opening theme song. I love this song, and it always comes to me when I might be feeling a little less than spectacular. You know, we all have that. So sometimes I'll open my my phone or my YouTube, and that song will show up again. Your entourage, your angels saying, "Okay, baby, we know, but this, you know, you got to pull it out of the dumps, right?"
Yes.
So here's the song, right? Ain't it funny how you feel? Ain't it funny that the way you feel shows on your face? And no matter how you no matter how you try to hide it, it states your case. Now a frown will bring your spirits down to the ground and never let you see the good things all around. Every time you seem to let your spirit flow, your luck runs out and the wind doesn't blow. But that can't make me sad, just can't make me. Hey, because I've been there before. Don't want to go no more. No one can make me. No one can make me sad. Sadness, there's no remedy for the problems in your life. Problems in your life. When you run your race, help you run your race. Hey, that song, you probably don't know it the way I'm singing it.
But I think I got an idea who sings this song.
While you run your race, keep a smile on your face. It helps you set your pace.
Yes.
Those are the actual lyrics. And it is Earth, Wind, and Fire's A Smile on Your Face. Right. Yes. Sadness bears no remedy for the problems in your life.
Yes. I love Earth, Wind, and Fire. They have really, yes, people acknowledge them and they get all kind of accolades, but the songs that they have provided and put out has been amazing. On a previous episode, a lady talked about being a star, and it was one of Earth, Wind, and Fire songs.
Oh yes, Wish Upon a Shining Star or something like that. Or yes, just a star. Earth, Wind, and Fire was tapped in. They were tapped in. Yep. So that's one of my favorite songs.
That's beautiful, and I like that you talked about the lyrics. I'm gonna go back and put that into my system and let it sit with me.
Yep.
So what was your second song?
My second song is Tina Marie, I've Been Here Before. That's my second song.
Wait a minute.
And how she talks about being I'm young and I'm old.
I'm
Child,
rich
don't
and I'm
sing.
poor.
That's right. Don't sing, mama. You all right. I'm rich and I'm poor. And it feels like I've been on this earth many times before.
Yes.
Once I was a white gazelle, riding horseback and running free.
Yes.
Searching in the darkness for a piece of me. Hey.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew, you know what? Now you have a friend for life, because that is one. No, seriously. First of all, I'm a huge, huge fan of Tina Marie. And two, that song has always resonated with me. And do you know who actually wrote that song for her or with her?
Rick James.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yep. And it's so beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Very beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's just, I don't know, it just speaks to me. And that's another song that is Deja Vu, I think is the name of the actual song.
Yes, yes.
You know, and when she talks about being a king and with poppers, I'm trying to find that particular lyric in here.
So all of these, a lot of Tina Marie songs, some songs are naturally tapped into healing.
Yep.
And when you put that vibration of that music on, it automatically heals you and it brings your vibration up. And that's definitely one of my go-to songs when honey, or I've been here before. And we know, well, I believe I've been here before, but just the knowledge, the wisdom that's encoded in that song. Oh my gosh.
That's right. Another part of the lyric, she says, I used to be a queen, you know, on an island by the sea. There were rainbow colored people and happy as can be. Hey, we never had a problem. There never was a care. And love was ever flowing and its feeling shared.
Yes.
Man, girl.
Listen, you can't say no more on that. That is absolutely beautiful. And you know, as soon as I get off, I'm going to go play that song because it is so beautiful. And here's my thing. I think that song was made either in the late 70s or early 80s. And it still resonates today. So when you make something that is so tapped in,
it's timeless.
Yeah, it's timeless. You're absolutely right. And it will always be used as a catalyst for elevation.
Yeah. And, you know, I just want to say quickly the point about what you're doing in terms of music and helping people, you know, really focus on their relationship to lyrics, but not just lyrics, the vibrational resonance of music and how that affects your life. You know, I grew up in a Southern Baptist church. You can't tell me a tambourine is not a spiritual blessing from God.
Come say that.
And I still be putting on Mahalia. Look, all this African spirituality is rooted. Our American experience is rooted in Africa. It's the same. I don't have no problems, you know, with none of it.
And I'm happy that you said that because sometimes we get it confused. This is why 7 is my favorite number. 3 and 4 is 7. 5 and 2 is 7. 6 and 1 is 7. 0 and 1 is 7. It just adds up different ways, but it all comes back to the source.
It all comes back to the source and for the time period that people are in. And that's another reason why the music that is played today is so dastardly, because it is insidiously aligning people's energies with the darker force. You know, it's quietly, very unsuspectingly aligning people's energies with the darker force, as opposed to aligning people's energies with an uplifting, like you said, uplifting, healing, you know, head correcting presence. It's really dastardly what's being done, actually.
Well, and that's why this platform is here, you have what? You have dropped a seed to say, wait a minute, maybe I need to pay attention to what's being said.
That's right.
And that's why,
I
one,
love
I
that.
love music. Two, lyrics elevate us or it can
Mhm.
bring us down. But
Mhm.
three, being aware. And this is a good segue into one of my questions by you saying that.
Mhm.
Can you name a lyric of a song that you sung as a child and you absolutely enjoyed it? And then when you became adult, you was like, wait a minute, I didn't know it said that. Wait, 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 wait. Can you identify a song?
As a child or as a teenager?
Well, a teenager, a child, it's just something that you really enjoy and you sung it or you did whatever. And then when you became adult, you was like, wait a minute, that's not what that meant. It meant
Yeah.
something else. Like
Like,
I'll give
oh,
you an example.
yeah.
Um, we had a pastor on and he used to sing Mary Jane. And he said
Right.
he loved it because music will take you in and get you ready
It sure
and
does.
what he found
Mhm.
out, Mary Jane was connected to marijuana. So
Right.
can you think about a song that you can think of that you can share with the audience in that particular way?
Actually, I didn't do that part of the assignment.
That's okay. That's okay. Listen, if you don't have one of those, we can move on to another.
You
You,
know, what's gonna happen. I'm gonna call you and be like, "Oh my God, here's the song." But I don't know. I just kind of always been when I was a younger person, even in early teens, I really loved funk, and
okay.
Grandmaster Flash, the early rap, and the Parliament Funkadelics and all of that,
Yes.
but I can't identify a specific lyric because
Well,
I was like,
that's
oh yeah, I know what that means, and I'm with it.
okay. There you go. Well, that's okay. Remember, we
Mhm,
said the program
mhm.
is subject to
Right.
change.
To
So we'll
change,
move
right.
we'll move on to the next things. So I believe,
Mhm,
as I mentioned before, we all have our peaks and our valley.
mhm,
Can you identify a tap in song? And what I mean by tap in song, that when
mhm,
your spirit, of course, you told me you're about your song that you mentioned previously, but is there another song when your spirit is so low,
mhm,
you've heard something, you experienced something, or you saw something, you like, oh, I need to focus. Is
mhm.
there a tap in song that you have available that you can share with the
Yeah.
audience?
Yeah, actually, and this is I mean, really, this is off the cuff, but it is absolutely authentic and true. One of my favorite songs that always is redirecting is the Commodores, Jesus is
Really?
Love, because
Oh,
that was my grandmother's one of her favorite songs, and my mother, her one of her favorite songs. And I find that if none of these other stuff, when I just sit and reflect and listen to that particular song. Also, another, and I'm going old school,
it's okay.
is the Hawkins singers, Be Grateful.
Ooh,
I just sit and just put that on, and it redirects because it is about being grateful.
yes,
And it is about knowing that the force of God is love. And
yes,
so I try not to, it's rare that I'm in like a pissy mood. You know what I'm
yes.
saying? It's rare that I'm like in a funk that I can't, because I don't, it just feels terrible. It's a yucky place and I don't like to be there. So I try to correct things as quickly as possible, but sometimes you got to sit in your poopy diaper that you
Huh.
done created or whatever, and if I'm not able to elevate my energy quick enough, I'll just go let me just put on Be Grateful by the
Yes,
Hawkins singers, going old school. And just the syncopation of the music and the passion
yes,
of the singers and the message of the lyrics
yes,
um
yes.
is very, very nourishing for me.
And I like that you touched on the passion. That passion will resonate with you sometime before you actually listen to the lyrics. You're like, wait
Yeah.
a minute. And it makes you stop, and then you begin to listen to the lyrics. And that passion is connected to the energy, and that's what gets your attention to begin with. Again, from my perspective. So can you give me an artist that you had the opportunity to purchase? So for example, we all get music invitation. People say, check this out, check that out. But you had the opportunity with nobody influence to purchase your first, whether it was a song, a CD, a tape, but you did it on your own without your parents' influence, your sister influence. It was just something and you like, ooh, I like this particular person, and that's where I'm spending my money. Can you?
Yeah. So the first, again, in my youth, it was Tina Marie's, her first album. And it was Prince's. Wait, I'm going down with him. I Want to Be Your Lover, I think it is. I want to be your lover. Yes. And I knew what them lyrics meant, honey, and I was all with it. I was not like, oh, what did that mean? I was like, no, yes, but you look a little too late, I don't like all the hair and the nails and the booty out. That's not for me, but I like the song.
Yes.
And Tina Marie's first album, Behind the Groove.
Okay.
Yep, Behind the Groove. And then, of course, Parliament Funkadelic.
Oh, wow.
Those were the first 3 albums almost back to back that I purchased.
Wow, that is, you know what? That is a dynamic choice. I like all 3 because we know with Funkadelic, people don't really realize, but so many of the rappers have sampled and did things from him, and he is truly a Renaissance man. Did you know at one point he was a barber when he originally started?
Right.
Clint, what is his name?
Lord, how are we losing the man name? Clint, yeah.
Well, we know who we're talking about, but if you ever get a chance to check out
George Clinton.
Yeah, George Clinton, thank you.
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance to check out his story and the things he's been connected to and the rappers that really resonate with him because of his style, his tone, his cadence, it's amazing. So they're the forefathers of a lot of things, or him and his team. So
and Bootsy Collins, I think, is Snoop Dogg's cousin. They're first cousins.
Oh, I didn't know that. And Bootsy was in his.
It was in Parliament Funkadelic.
Yes. Yep. It's always like a connect the dot in some kind of way. Just like, hey, even though we met at the podcast, this was not by accident. You were meant to see me. I was meant to see you. And then when you talked about Tina Marie, I'm like, I'm losing it over here. Yeah. So we know that everything is divinely planned.
That's right.
And now you got me for life. You can't get rid of me.
Well, I ain't trying to get rid of you, child. It's kismet.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I definitely believe in that. So I have one more question for you. Can you give me a song that is a celebration song? For example, anytime you hear a group of people saying happy birthday together, that's high energy, it's high elevation, everybody's participating. Or like in a graduation, you hear the song, I started from the bottom, now we're here. And everybody is celebrating and the energy is high and everybody is participating. Can you give me an example of a song that you enjoy either seeing a group of people participate in, or you have participated and you're like, yes, it just makes you feel good?
So I'm going to go to Gambit. A bottle of bub in the club. It's your birthday. Go, shorty. It's your birthday.
Yeah, I love it.
Listen, people get the spiritual, like you gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes,
the spirituality grows out of the mud, baby. But that don't mean the mud ain't still on the roots.
Yes, yes.
You just determined that the mud is not going to be the lead.
Yes.
So yeah, I love that song. I love Jerusalem. a new song. It's relatively new. It's an African themed song.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of years ago, I had the great fortune of being installed as a traditional queen mother.
Oh,
Here on the shores of North America, though, from the Ghanaian Akan community, right?
okay. Well, anytime, wait. I'm a big believer. We must celebrate that. So we say yes and congratulations because we know that is a heavy, you
Yeah.
know, thing on your shoulders to be able to say, I am the great mother. So I love that.
Well, it's leadership and it's servant leadership. And thank you for that. I just merely shared that though, because that was the theme song. Jerusalem. And again, people play it. There's a line dance to it now and everything. And it is African, South African based lyrics. And she's speaking in, I think it's Hausa, the South African tongue. You may have heard it. And your viewers and listeners may have heard it too. Again, it's a very recent song, and the name of it, the title of it, is Jerusalem.
Okay.
Too bad we can't play it here. We might get kicked off of YouTube.
Well, that's why I don't. That's why we
That's
talk
why
about
you
it
don't
instead of
play.
playing
Yeah.
it.
And so the lyrics are basically saying, the divine spirit is my rescue. Divine spirit is my source. And I'm not down here on earth alone.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's one of the most celebratory songs in recent memories.
Yeah, I love
Mhm.
I love that. So before we get out of here,
Mhm.
um, is there any social media handles you would like to share, any upcoming events, anything that you would like to share with my audience, even a number if they want to get in contact with you and maybe
Mhm.
start their spiritual because I know one of the things you also provide some kind of spiritual consultation.
Yes.
So can you provide information for the audience?
Yes. So I want to say right at the outset before I do that is, you know, my overall classes offerings are for everyone.
I
You don't
love
have
that.
to be of a particular spiritual um um past or denomination or anything. It's really about helping a person align their mind, body, and energy so that you can further connect with however you see God.
Yes.
That's not up to me. I'm not,
Yes.
trying to convert nobody, trying to drag. I'm just saying, I know my work is to say, hey, righteous people, there's an energetic dynamic to who you are. And
Yes.
part of your missteps is that energy is out of alignment.
Come on. Woo.
Let
Yes.
me show you how to align the energy. And then however your ancestral entourage, God, whatever you call that energy, however y'all get directed, now you're fortified and energized to do the work you came to do.
Amazing.
So it's
Amazing.
not about joining nobody's nothing. It's about showing you just how to align your dynamics,
I
right?
love that.
And so the primary place people connect with me is on my Instagram page, which is MamaYoga Wellness, MAMA Wellness. And my in the bio is my link to all my offerings. We have two events coming up. One is the Goddess in the Garden in
Mm,
Philadelphia, which I've partnered with some very young, beautiful, culturally minded women, and we celebrate divine femininity.
yes.
Not excluding men. We
I'm
can say
glad you
that.
said that. I'm glad you said that because I don't exclude men. It's so many
Mm,
divisive behavior where
yeah.
they're like, only women, only men. We need each
Nope.
other.
Nope. That's not even our culture. Like we don't do that. When folks was burning their bras, that wasn't our thing. We don't do that. We're not excluding men. This is not about, but women need to nourish and
Yes.
care for ourselves and each other. We care for everybody. So we got to care for ourselves.
Say that.
Yeah, we got it. So it's a self-care day in Philadelphia. If any of your viewers are near, that is September 16th in Philadelphia. And then on September 30th, I have head wraps, yoga, and curves. Another event that myself and my partner on Simply Netfa, a sister friend of mine, and we do. This is our third annual, and it's talking about the beauty of wrapping your hair and the culture and science behind that, different aspects of yoga and how to use yoga for exercise, for alignment, and there's speakers and food, and that is in my beloved city, Trenton, New Jersey, on September 30th. But again, you can go to my my bio on Instagram, MamaYoga Wellness, and find all my info there.
That is amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. So, audience, remember, she has something on the 16th of September and the 30th. And if you go onto her Instagram, you can tap in and get more detailed information regarding that.
Absolutely.
Before we get out of here, I want to express how this has been. Listen, I never forget about my audience, but I believe that all of this wisdom that you were pouring out, you were giving it directly to me. And I feel like we were so in alignment with each other. It has been absolutely amazing that you said yes to me and came on. And I believe that this episode will definitely bless someone, give them the perspective to start a new journey and a new path. And we know sometimes those paths can be hard, but it's just one thing that can trigger. I'm like the old folks when they say it ain't nothing like a made up mind. Once you make up your mind, baby, we can start doing some work, but the mind must be made up.
Absolutely.
So, with that being said, before we get out of here, I always tell my guests the journey is just as important as the destination. The destination is what the journey is, where we learn and grow. The destination is where we celebrate. We all need to have a moment to celebrate. But the key to it all is to get back onto that journey and continue to learn, continue to grow, continue to elevate. So before I get out of here, I always do this to the women that come on. I bow to them. So I would great, great, great honor, with great wisdom, I bow to you. And I thank you for coming on and pouring all this great wisdom out to just not only me, the audience. And before you get out of here, is it anything you would like to say before we end to my audience or to me?
Yes, Halima. Thank you, my dear, for again, for having me on. You know, I am reflecting you. All of the audience members out there that this resonates with is because it is a reflection of the nourishment that you are requesting. It is not me, you know, little old Angie from Trenton, Samut MamaYoga. This is divine entourage and spirit working, and I am seeking to be obedient to that.
Yes, yes. Will you guys please, please give a warm round of applause as we say goodbye to Mama Yoga. Thank you, and I will be in touch.